Hi guys, Nick here from Intuitive Tennis. Do you want to learn how to hit the perfect one-handed backhand? Then this video is perfect for you. Let's check it out. So let's start off with the grip. The one-handed backhand grip is going to be different than any other grip in tennis. And so if we take a look at the two-handed backhand, for example, that we see that both of the index fingers are spread from the middle finger. And then we look at the forehand, for example, I'm also going to have the index finger spread from the middle finger. The same thing on the serve. I'm going to have this position. On the one-handed backhand, however, these fingers are going to be closer to each other, like this. And the reason for this is, if we take a look at the contact on the one-handed backhand, you can see that as the ball meets the racket here, there's really nothing supporting the racket back here. And see, on the forehand, when we hit the ball, the hand is behind the racket and the hand is supporting the racket, so we can hold it looser. Same on the serve, the hand is behind the racket and we can support it. However, on the one-handed backhand, since the hand is right on top of the racket and the fingers are in front, we're going to have to hold it tighter so we have stability as the ball hits the racket. So the best one-handed backhand grip is going to be an Eastern grip, a bevel number 1, right on top of the racket. This is what Federer uses, Dimitrov. Most of the best backhands of all time use this grip. You can also go to a Western one-handed backhand grip. This is an extreme grip. You might have a difficulty getting length on the ball with this grip. So I recommend a Eastern backhand grip for the one-hander. The first step on the one-handed backhand is going to be same as any other shot. We're going to make a slide turn to our backhand side like this. And now we start to set up the backhand. And what needs to happen is we need to make a large lateral step. Even when the ball's in the middle of the court, we have to make sure that the right leg is way across the body like this, and what that gives us is an automatic shoulder turn. And the wider the feet are apart, the more stability you have. And you can see with Federer, if you watch Federer's practice videos, when he's warming up during a tournament, he's really not trying that hard, and he's very relaxed, and he might hit some backhands like this, you know, very loose, and he doesn't turn that much. But when he plays points, or plays a match, that same shot from the middle of the court, he's going to set it up something like this. Okay, so now I have my wide lateral setup on the backhand. Therefore I have my shoulder facing the other side of the court. I'm still holding the racket with both hands. I can have my racket a little bit higher. It's going to give me more rhythm. And now I start the forward part of the swing. And when does this happen? It happens just like any other shot from the baseline. And when the ball is bounced on your side or is about to bounce, I start the forward part of the swing. And again, this is something that's very intuitive. We're just going to be focused solely on the ball, and we're not going to think about pulling the butt cap towards the ball and all this stuff that's going to happen naturally. All we're doing is focusing on the contact being in front. So let's not talk about the contact on the one-handed backhand. So the contact is going to be different from any other shot in tennis. And you can see that when I make contact on my one-handed backhand, you can see that the arm is rather close to the body when we're talking about lateral spacing. So of course it's going to be way out front when we talk about forward-backward spacing. And we talk about lateral spacing, meaning this way and this way, the hand is rather going to be close to the body. And the reason for this is that this is the weaker side of the arm. And see, to get power on this side, we cannot contract the arm backwards, so we're going to have to use a little bit more of our back muscles to get acceleration. If you compare this to, for example, to a left-handed forehand, you can see that there's a lot more space for me here, and it's much easier for me to contract the arm from the outside. And so to remember to position yourself a little bit closer to the ball laterally on the one-handed backhand. So when it comes to the finish on the one-handed backhand, there's basically two styles of finishes. So let's start off with the Federer slash Dimitrov finish. And what that is basically a more sideways finish. The shoulders are going to be more sideways with very little rotation. And you can see that Federer, when he hits his backhand, the racket goes up right away like this, and then it whips back. And then the momentum of the racket will actually push Federer on his back leg like this on the majority of his backhands. And that's how he gets the racket to accelerate more. He starts that very early on the finish. He starts transferring the weight onto his back foot. And you can see his front foot straightening like this. And then as the racket hits this spot, he actually transfers onto the back foot. And he gets tremendous acceleration from this. Federer also gets tremendous topspin on this backhand because the racket path is very vertical. It goes very steeply up and then it whips back, so he gets topspin and power like this. Because he's not rotating, the racket doesn't have a lot of room to go across this way. so he goes right away up and back like this. So he gets power and spin at the same time. The second style of finish on the one-handed backhand is the Wawrinka Dominic Thiem style of finish, and this finish has a lot more rotation in it. So when you look at Wawrinka, for example, he will hit the ball further across than Federer. So he goes across right away, but he doesn't quite go up. And so he goes across this way, and the racket hits here, and he gets a full upper body rotation, something like this. And you can see that his back leg will not go back like Federer's. It will mostly go to the side. And Dominic Thiem hits the backhand exactly the same way. So they hit it further across, and then the leg comes on the outside like this. And this is a backhand that's more flat because the racket is not initially going up, and it has probably a little bit more power. But there's an argument that maybe for some players this style can produce more mistakes also. For recreational players, for adults or juniors, I recommend rotating a little bit. I find that a lot of players have limitations when it comes to finishing the Federer style, and the shoulder for some players will simply not go higher than this, and many players are stopped here because they're not as flexible. So what I find is that when we rotate the upper body, we get a little bit more help from the entire body to get power, and we can finish like this. However, if you are flexible enough, you can hit the Federer backhand like this, and then go ahead and do so. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment in the section below if you have any questions. See you next time.